Ladies and gentlemen, check your Steam right now. The patch is still not out, of course. It's not going to be coming out until next week, like I told you over on my stream, but we're back here for the North American portion of the night shift. Jason Kaplan joined by the one, the only, the man of many talents, not only casting, observing in our EU side of the show. It's Jake. Jake, welcome to the show. Give you a little bit of a round of applause, maybe a little too.
Thank you. That's my observing debut, Jason. I've always wanted to try it observing, so it was a lot of fun to get the chance to do it and, you know, showcase the game in a different light. This is like assembling my esports infinity gauntlet. You know, I've been a player, I've been a coach, I've been a caster, I've been a host, been an analyst. At this point, I need to be like a team owner and a league commissioner. So Valve, hit me up. Okay. You know, I'm always I'm always available.
I don't know how you find time for all this, man, in between your modeling and casting gigs, doing observing as well. It's kind of crazy, but we are here, like we said before, for the North American portion of the show. And it is pretty much a full-on rematch from last week with a couple of different teams mixed in here in North American. And funny enough, Jake, in the beginning parts of Night Shift, or back then it was Fight Night, EU was always the region to watch. It was quickly turned over to North America, and to get you guys caught up to date with what's happening is a best of one to kick things off in a challenger match. So we'll take a look at the schedule for you guys. And we're moving on to a best of three finals with money on the line. But Jake, Floormen and Bunny with Clock, a tale as old as time, it feels like these days.
Yeah, and the Floormen are you know, bringing back together a lot of players that, you know, were of the Hydra Nation dynasty really in the Fight Night era, and also bringing together some new faces, hoping to build something with a bit more staying power. So I'm excited to see if they can put up a fight. But man, NA has been insanely competitive. These top three teams, I mean, Melee Creeps has been pretty decisive. I think their last win put them on a 9 series win streak, or a 9 night shift win streak. So obviously they want to go for the double digits. It means a lot to them, I'm sure, to rack up 10 in a row here if they're able to get it done tonight. But it's honestly never looked harder, right? I think Bunny with Clock have been steadily improving. I think the Floormen are a team with real promise. This is far from an easy win for Melee Creeps, despite the incredible record they've shown.
I just have to say, do you remember the last time Melee Creeps lost?
Like I honestly don't. Wait, I guess it was that old
Shift 12
roster. I like.
Yeah, it was right after they won the trolley event that we did. So they won like 5K, and then they went on to lose Night Shift like the following, well, I guess like half a week. It was really weird to see. But ever since then, nonstop winning. But our first match of the day, of course, will be with Bunny the Clock up against Floormen, and we'll take a look at the rosters in just a second. Because you know what? I don't know. We'll look at it now, and we'll go back to something after this. Since you do see Floormen coming in here with Lord and M rejoining the team, and I have to say, Jake, I've been watching some scrims that he did with Melee Creeps as he was subbing in for him. I saw him last week. I feel like he steadily improved and probably took to heart a lot of the hate he got of only being able to play Mo and Krill back in the day.
Yeah, we'll have to see, you know, what they pull out nowadays. We did see a little bit of Mo in that EU match, but it's definitely been a hero that hasn't been so popular with all the roaming and the activity in the early game that has been kind of characterizing the current patch. So, but across the board, this Floormen roster, right, there's so much star power here. Think about players like AVG and Pop, getting a lot of the farm, being able to kind of take those in-game leader roles and really step up controlling the tempo of the game. Incredibly solid on those roles. Hydration has just been the hyperflex for this team, although it seems like he's settled into a bit more of a support role. And then playmaking, you really have just an embarrassment of riches here. Lord and M, Zerbzy, League, whether Rocker's playing or not. I mean, you have a lot of options on this team and a lot of different looks they can bring to bear. So it's kind of crazy to think that this team right now is probably third best in NA, right? Like in the standings, I mean, Bunny the Clock solidly have beaten them a few times, look like the stronger, more consistent team, even after losing Pop. And then, of course, it's Melee Creeps on top. So it's just, NA Deadlock has really leveled up over these last couple months, Jason.
And it's kind of weird, too, to see, you know, Pop on BWC, they were a very strong team, but to see him jump ship to go over to Floormen, I think he saw something in this roster and in this team and what they potentially can do in the long run in Deadlock. But let's take a look at their opponents really quick. Bunny with Clock coming through for another week. And they do have Matt join the roster to take place of what Pop was playing for the team. And if we're to point out, you know, one star player on this roster, I think we're both going to agree. I think chat should probably agree. Everyone should out there be agreeing that our eyes are definitely on Aiden and what he can pull off.
Yeah, Aiden has grown and grown in my estimation from, yeah, like a really solid player and a couple of pocket picks to now expanding the hero pool, playing more and more characters. Looking like one of the better players in North America right now. I mean, maybe that's a little bit of a surprising call considering, yeah, they haven't won in quite a while over Melee Creeps, but in that map that they did win last week against Melee Creeps, Aiden just like took over the game on the signature Vindicta. So you almost feel like you have to go back to respect banning Aiden's Vindicta, which in a meta that she hasn't been so popular in really does kind of hurt you as in a team opposing them. And even if you do ban the Vindicta, he can still bring it on so many other characters. So this is a team that has looked really impressive and kind of came out of nowhere, right? From our radar of, you know, previous players on top. This was a new roster that kind of came together and has made a real splash now. And they're really hurting for their first win against melee creeps, right? They've been so close so many times. You always want to believe that this is the week for Bunny with Clock.
And you have to hope that, I think the time Aiden's had to kind of adjust to being more of the carry player within this roster, knowing his Vindicta's probably to get aura banned. He's been actively on a stream playing a lot of different heroes, trying to kind of level things up around the board. But also, I think Tanner had a little bit of a rough time last week. Him and Gibbs kind of swapping things over. It's weird to see Tanner, I believe, was on Viscous and Gibbs was playing something else when normally would see Gibbs to be the Viscous player. But identity, maybe something need to work on. Matt as well. He's probably going to have that pocket available since Vindicta would be banned out. But before we do hop into our Mo and Krill 1v1, Jake, of course, the show, it's not about us, not about necessarily just the players. It's about the community as well and how you guys have been supporting us throughout the creation of Night Shift and even back when it was Fight Night. We appreciate all of you out there, and you can continue to support us over on our Patreon. Tetsio and Matthew S. I think maybe we hit his last name, or maybe he hit his last name. The big 250 supporter, man. Ridiculous stuff. But of course, Afex coming through with the 100 and everyone down there. What I want to start to do though, Jake, we always shout out the top of our patrons. We never bring up any of the $5 Night Shift residents. So I think, like, you know, once or twice during the show, we should just call out a random name. For me, I'm going to go with Anu. Big shout out. Thank you for the $5 patron supporter. You see it, right? The second row, third from the bottom.
I see.
Who do you got? Who do you want to give a shout out to?
I want to give a shout out to Soren Markov, always in the graveyard shifts, checking out, you know, offering good questions, insightful commentary. Cool to see them supporting as well. But at any level, guys, whether it's on Patreon, is a great way to support us, great way to keep the stream running and, you know, allow us to continue running these events while Deadlock is in such an early nascent stage. We talk about this a lot, how, you know, everyone believes in the future of this game and like the big things to come. But to be able to put on like a quality esports level production for everyone wouldn't be possible, right? From week to week without our patrons, without our Twitch subs, our YouTube members, and also just all the viewership, all the support we get from across all these different platforms. So really just appreciating the community. A lot of love, especially to our patrons, though, keeping the lights on here at Night Shift.
Yeah, and all the people donating to the prize pool every week in and week out, where we do sorts of things with the upcoming sponsor, hopefully in the next few weeks, to really kind of ramp up the money for all these players to make. And of course, some fun little activities for you guys at home, as ZP did mention, talking about a draft night, the announcement of the announcement when the new patch comes. But I think Team Deathy up against Team Vegas, and they'll be picking teams and you know, swapping, I believe, between them as well. We'll see how that one's going to kick off later on. But it's time to get into our first match here, Jake, which means we have to kick off our Mo and Krill 1v1. I'm wondering, what is our adaptation of this going to be at some point? Or are we always, for the end of time, going to be doing Mo and Krill 1v1?
Mo and Krill 1v1? We should think about that. We should do like a seasonal era. Should it still be a melee 1v1 with a different character? Does it even change anything if it's a different character?
I don't know if we do melees. Maybe we do like 1v1 lane battles. And you have to you can pick your own hero, but it's like blind picking.
Like Vindicta, no items, but with like snipe leveled.
Only snipe. I like it.
Snipe only Vindicta duel in the mid, maybe I don't know, maybe around. Maybe we can make like a custom map or something. Because have you seen some of the custom maps people have made, Jason? Of like, there's movement maps. There's like different, like there's like a single lane map I think that was made by fans. So there's a lot of cool customization in Deadlock right now that we really only scratch the surface of.
There's a map, that Gluten Snake. If you guys out there, I'm sure most of you out there know who Gluten Snake is. It's a map that's like very high ground oriented. So instead of fighting like on a horizontal axis, you're fighting more on a vertical axis. It's kind of crazy. I just put a couple of videos about that, so you can go check that out if you're interested. But we do have Doorman being taken away, and honestly, Jake, doesn't surprise me. They have to change or nerf or figure out what to do with his doors and the earn turn-ins.
I think some teams are just saying like they don't want to deal with it. I will say one thing I noticed from Abraham's in particular in some of those EU finals maps is they were postured so far beyond the door, or beyond the earn drop rather. The doorman like couldn't really even get close enough to put his door down, and so by preventing him setting up a door, by being there super early, they were kind of able to outplay some of that worry of like the free earn turn in. But it's still like it's just such a big ask of teams to be able to mark that one. But in fact, they're going to open with the Mina. Floormen ban out, or rather open with the Shiv against a banned out Mina. So interesting situation here. There's an opportunity for Floormen to maybe snipe the Vindicta for themselves, which would put Aiden really down far into the comfort pool, maybe towards something like his Warden.
I don't know who would play Vindicta on their team. Or if you'd
Go
have like
together. Big raid.
Oh, yeah, thanks so much,
333
Together.
viewers. Shout out Together. Congrats on another win, man. You guys just unstoppable. Although this week it's probably a little bit scary for Together.
Yeah, so on Floormen, I don't know who'd actually be playing Vin on this comp, or you have to kind of address it. Do you take it away to deny it away from Aiden, or do you allow them to play it? But I wanna scratch your brain with something really quickly, Jake, about Doorman. Because Trax, who was playing earlier on in the EU portion with Loki W, he theorized or talked about something of seeing a Veil Walker Doorman. You put down a door somewhere in the jungle on your side. You go through a veil, go straight through it, and you go look for a carry, drop your other door down, and your entire team runs through and just completely catches that player off guard.
Yeah,
I'm
like
really curious if that's going to happen.
Bring the gang out of a doorman door. I mean, I can see it. I could see it. I think it's interesting. The only downside is you'd have to be like the time risk, right? Of your whole team waiting on a door, hoping you find something. But honestly, I kind of like that concept for like a late game play. I do think like a doorman's one of those characters that is just like, you know, it's people aren't gonna. There's gonna be new techs figured out in like a year from now that have always existed and just no one found. That character is just built to have insane, crazy techs. And Bunny with Clock responds with the Abrams, so both teams getting a very bulky front line so far in the draft.
Yeah, but Bunny with Clock, they're allowing the Vindicta to get through the second round of bans. Is it going to actually be banned away, or is it going to be taken up here? I would assume if you're Floormen, you kind of have to go for it, especially if you're going to be picking a pocket here who has a negative spirit resist, making it very easy for Vin to snipe you. And of course, the control you get with the tether of like a Billy and a Yamato together. You don't want to have to use a Shroud Transformation to get rid of a tether right off the bat. But I'm expecting the Vindicta ban to come through at a Floormen.
More time to plan.
No, I would say they go with the Paradox, so they're going to, I mean, at this point, I don't see why. Although, now that I say that, Floormen do still have, I think, the first pick coming off the ban phase, so there's still one last chance for them to snipe it for themselves. But it is going deep enough now where you wonder, okay, maybe they're just saying, look, you know, Aiden, you're kind of on the carry role now. It's not really going to fit if you're on Vindicta, that you're going to need to pick something like a Warden or a Wraith, right, to carry the late game. And wow, Bunny with Clock banning out the Dynamo. I mean, I know they had picked some tanky characters, some frontliners here. Shiv and Abrams actually do kind of hate playing against the Dynamo because you know, you think you're going to be able to get in and make your way out of fights with your second skill, but then of course that singularity or even the stomps can really mess you up. But Floormen grabbed the Viscous, which honestly looks like one of the top gun carries right now in terms of the build that's being played on Viscous, right? Once you get that glass cannon vamp burst, you're not only so high DPS, but also you have the mobility to come in and out of fights the way very few gun carries can.
Oh yeah, and you're so safe too. The fact that you have a cube, you can puddle punch yourself or the other main team away. If you ever seen Goober play, and the mobility he has with puddle punch is ridiculous. But again, it is kind of a telling sign of if you're gonna go gun Viscous, that's a heavy investment that you have to feed specifically to him, which means you have to sacrifice that from somewhere else, and where that's gonna be is yet to be determined. As an Ivy gets picked up for Bunny with Clock, Ivy with Healing Nova with the Watcher's Covenant is kind of insane and kind of catches you off guard. And the Viper, I mean, you got to observe the Viper in the last game played by Dimov. It's so scary early on, and I feel like to me, Viper plays a very similar role to Haze in that mid game where you look for the roam, you look for the Bola strike, then you pop down, or say Petrifying Bola, and then you pop down Lethal Venom, and you basically pop someone before they have a chance to react.
Yeah, there's that pick Page. Talk about a hero who's going to be a little bit more sacrificial in terms of the soul count. Great laner alongside Billy, but also I think, you know, gives Viscous that space to you know, go farm a side lane. Page is going to be perfectly happy to leave and just commit to fighting pretty early in the game. And Mo and Krill rather is going to be the final pickup. So Lord of M's playing this. He ain't beating the allegations today, but you know what? I respect that even more. It's not about proving anybody wrong. It's about getting these dubs. And against Bunny with Clock, you can't play your punches. Their draft's like a little bit wild right now, frankly, from my perspective. Like the Viper, the Ivy. I guess they need kind of a gun carry to close this one out. Yeah, okay, it's going to be the Warden. So Warden versus Viscous. It's new Warden versus real Warden. Let's see who ends up being the better gun carry. Although, of course, mostly it's going to come down to the farm potential. How do you see that like late game matchup playing out, Jason?
Like a Warden Viscous or like comp?
Yeah, in terms of like two carries matching up, because I'm pretty sure the meta right now, Viscous is going to be a gun carry.
I'm trying to think if you're going to see a natural capacitor build, or sorry, a natural curse build for the side of Bunny with Clock, and I would have to lean towards Viper carrying that. The cube is going to be a very important factor in this fight, and since you're not building capacity more to get rid of the cube, you have to depend on that curse to really shred and give someone an opportunity. I kind of want to, I think it depends on who gets the glass cannon stacks. Like, I want to lean towards Warden because of the shielding you get on your 2 and your last stand can be something you really have to play around on the enemy side to respect. Whereas Viscus doesn't have that natural like zone control out of his ultimate. But I think it really comes down to who gets the stacks early on, man.
Yeah, who plays into that farm. I think a lot of it comes out of like how much you're able to snowball that early game. And we're looking to get into this opening match of the day. It's going to be, rather of NA, it's going to be Floormen taking on Bunny with Clock. Bunny with Clock have won this matchup a few times against different rosters, different looks from the Floormen, but Floormen were very competitive last week, and I think they're going to be really hankering for a win and honestly a fresh chance in the money match that they've been waiting for quite some time for a lot of these players.
Let me, while we have someone connecting for Floormen still, let me bring up a topic actually to discuss here, Jake, and get your opinion on this. Box maxing. I mean, I know you're seeing that in all of your games. I mean, anyone in a tournament is seeing this box maxing. I kind of want to hear your thoughts on it and kind of, do you see it as a positive or a negative to the health of a laning phase?
I actually am I'm pro box maxing. I mean, there's always like a line on it, but I actually think it's cool to see people not just going out for boxes around the middle of the map, which incentivizes you to like go for a gank. The way I see it is like it mitigates the risk. You know, if there is nothing out on the map, no resource for you to go grab, then well, you maybe would just AFK in your lane. And you know, the fact that you can at least grab boxes on your way, I think it gives you an incentive to go take those risks, to go for roams. And honestly, I think the game is really fun right now in the early game when things aren't that locked down to the lane and there's a lot more freedom for players to meet up and group and take fights before they're level 6. It gives like a different flavor to those early game fights.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm kind of in the opposite spectrum on that one, funny enough. I understand the idea of box maxing and trying to pretty much maximize any opportunity you can get when it comes to the economy. But I think with the way the laning phase is right now and how non-interactive it can be, as we obviously saw a kill come through, you know, really early on here onto ABG, there's like no incentive to interact. The healing's so strong, it's almost really hard to get these kills unless you have a super favorable matchup. So it's just kind of, all right, we're just going to drag out the laning phase until we get to a point where we can start to fight in that mid game. But I'm also more of a pessimist than an optimist, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see if the, you know, much vaunted incoming patch makes any big changes. You can expect, I think, a lot of changes, and I'm sure every aspect of the game will get looked at. That's going to be the excitement of that potential patch to come. Viscus laning mid with Yamato. I mean, this is a very high pressure lane, but Warden can give that pressure right back as well. So I think there's a lot riding on this mid lane with probably the 2 carries of the game laning against one another. Like whoever gets the better start here is setting themselves up for success in terms of snowballing and getting into that cold sacrifice a little bit earlier.
I think the maybe one down, I would put Floormen actually with an advantage in this lane just due to the fact that lethal venom, if you're trying to use it in lane, you're not roaming, which we can see him already do on that right hand side, then it's going to get canceled out completely. As we talked about the box maxing, I mean, look where Aiden is. He's completely behind the wave. You can see Pasha trying to push this one up while he's actually trying to go for the box in the meantime. His teammate League is doing the exact same thing. And then Cool Cheese, more importantly, I mean, this is what Viper does. You pretty much get or you get your lethal venom online. You start to roam and you look for those kills in these lanes to make that impact, knowing that there's really no point to sit in your lane.
Looks like he's looking more for the boxes than the kills.
That as well, yeah.
Well, you're saying he's like, nah, I'm looking for boxes. It's crazy that the sewer was full cleared of boxes at 220. I will say maybe box maxing has gone too far.
Also, big shout out to Hydration here. He takes the Mo and Krill, and Lord and M's going to be on the pocket.
Oh.
So he is beating the allegations for now. Well, let's see if they win.
Okay. All right, Lord and M. Hydration, definitely a stalwart Mo and Krill player.
What doesn't he play?
That's the thing.
He's the shark, I feel like, of NA. He just plays whatever the team needs.
Yeah, it's true. I would love to see Hydration, you know, I feels like it has shifted more to a support identity. But yeah. I do think he likes playing some of those like heavier catch heroes. And he honestly was one of the early, I think, Mo believers in NA, right? Where there was a while, you know, I think like 6 months ago where there really wasn't much Mo being played. And I think Hydration was one of the earlier players to start bringing in and feeling like you can do well in the lane. I do think that's kind of Mo's weakness is he's a bit of a potato in the lane. And he feels like certain heroes can just kind of stay away from him and just poke him down. And you know, he's just not able to sustain unless he can hit those big scorns on you. But we'll have to see. I mean, so far, it looks like kind of a painful laning stage, although not the end of the world for Hydration. I guess he's allowing a lot more farm to go to his lane mate.
can't forget, though, once you get that superior duration online for Mo and Krill, say hello to a 5.5-second disarm that you have to just sit there and put up with, or you're going to debuff remover it, which is a pretty much big investment if you want to go for early on. And speaking of early on, Cool G's going to be getting caught out here by the Yamato League. Looking for that kill, but he will be caught on himself, forced back into the Veil. The Posh Pop comes in for the kill over onto Cool Cheese. So Floormen looking to win out on this mid lane. And pretty early kill. I mean, Viper is very squishy, so it's very easy to take her out.
That's kind of the dream scenario, though, for Viscous, right? To get some snowball kills early game, get some of that net worth fed over to him so he can build into some of those farming items, build and clear the jungle just a little bit quicker than the opposition. But it's been a pretty quiet farm game, I think, overall in these lanes. Speaking of that, though, Billy getting a bit more action than he was counting on. Able to just play his way out of that one. Not much of a chase coming in.
Need a little help here.
Abrams, man, I don't know if he's been a terror in your rank, but in my initiate 6 that I'm at, he's a massive terror for the amount of damage he can do. And if he gets ahead, like the tempo you can pull off with him is kind of hard to deal with here, as Tanner's gonna be the one to pick it up. And I have flashbacks to him stuck in a room hiding for his life just a few weeks back. But also Arctic, we talk a lot about Aiden on Bunny with Hawk. If we were to talk about maybe like a second player, typically, it's Pocket, you look towards Matt, but Arctic's been steadily being that kind of AVG-esque role for the team, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he's looked really good on the Mirage when Mirage was in meta, and the Shiv as well. Another solid option for him. Billy trying to get a cheeky parry off there, but Abrams doesn't take the bite. Both Tanner and ABG taking a lot of pressure as Ivy flying in for the roam is going to probably push Cage out of this. This is too much damage. Zerbsy's out of stam. Cool Cheese cuts him down.
And he gets a Screwjob dagger in there. I didn't think he had the lethal venom up, I guess. They want to get close enough for this one. And honestly, AVG, I was going to say you'd almost have to give this one up here, but we do see Cool Cheese back away towards the mid lane. And honestly, the impact Cool Cheese's grade so far on this right-hand side has been pretty damn strong. This is where already AVG had a tough time dying earlier on in this game at the start, but a little bit of a bout breaking out in towards the middle as well while this is happening. Of course, Aiden trying to keep Cool Cheese alive and safe here as he returns back to lane.
I will say, I mean, this is a Page Billy lane, so to do anything but dominate is already, I think, a little bit of underwhelming performance. Right? You're typically, I think, picking this lane because you want them to just crush, and love that timing efficiency from Tanner. Pre-heavy meleeing on the camp spawn. Absolute maximum efficiency.
I want to see if Ivy or Gibbs goes for that health Nova Watcher's Covenant, as I mentioned in the draft. Like the amount of, you basically double dip in the heal, because if Ivy heals herself with Watcher's Covenant up, you heal the other target as well, but your healing Nova also heals them. So it's a massive burst of healing that I think kind of goes unrivaled right now, except maybe a super high spirit powered Kelvin for this one.
Yeah, but I like it because you're not full committed to support the way like a Kelvin, for example. It's like, yeah, you're slowing people down, but really 90% of what you're doing is like major support. It's like slow, heal, and then the isolation with Dome. But Ivy can still be a pretty significant fighting force. Speaking of fighting force, though, Lash, big ulti over the top, looks for a second, but can't find it. He's gonna be happy enough to just take this Mo. Krill Hydration rips the combo, but just gets instantly bursted down. Shiv there to assist that. Lord of Nem has to just fall back, doesn't have the affliction to force this fight. Although Yamato is here, so maybe Shiv could end up being in a little bit more trouble than I expected. He has this ultimate as well, and yeah, Arctic should be dead to rights here. Yamato getting a lot of big damage, taking the tower as well, but job's done here. Come back in, stifle some of that continued push. Turning into a bit of a party lane, though, with Viper also showing up.
Yeah, looking for the turnaround, and that strat transformation up, there's a pretty good chance you could just blow that one through. Charged him through, and they're throwing everything they have at this Abrams, who just gets boosted up to safety. Even Slice of Impact comes out as well. It's a big commitment. Chain Gang and the ultimate out of Page to go for that kill on a Tanner, and he escaped with his life.
The Rusted Barrel and the Backstabber. So much annoying debuff here as now Warden comes into this lane. They sense an opportunity maybe to push down this Guardian. It's exposing their Guardian mid, so at this point, kind of have to commit to this Aiden. Abrams baiting a bit of the counterplay on the dive, throws a trap down. And a fight occurring as well on the other side. Looking to them just delete Cool Cheese, looking to get a Guardian of their own here for Floormen.
Such big dives for just such meager objectives, at least for now. I mean, obviously with the Sinners spawning in as well, you're going to look towards both teams heading towards the double Sinners room, or also known as Puddin. You see the invade already come in, I believe, out of Aiden. I wouldn't be too surprised to see them transition towards some of those Sinners. Looks like they will back off to their own side of the jungle. But so far, taking a look at the stock of things, Posh Pop at 8.8k, Jake. That's a pretty happy Gun Viscous right now.
Yeah, very farmed. Expect to see them both with the Cult sack. i.e. Aiden and Pashi. Means the gun damage you get from that item, as well as the ability to farm some of those tier 3 camps a little bit earlier. Definitely high value. A fast clear on the Sinners. Yamato maybe wants to get into some action with the ult coming off CD. There's still a Guardian here. It won't be easy. Meanwhile, Pop in the other lane gets a kill. Combo, beautiful catch there onto Matt. Lash, no tankiness whatsoever when you can't deploy those movement skills. So, I mean, there's a couple players in this Bunny with Clock team. I'm thinking about Cool Cheese, thinking about Matt, who, hey, if you get caught by the combo, you're just instantly dead. Ult missed it. It hit like the Walker's hand.
Walker? I think it can hit your own minions, if I'm not mistaken. I think I've definitely had a couple of times I've thrown it into my own creeps. So that's unfortunate, but like realistically, was the kill to come after that? Probably not. Pop was still extremely healthy and maybe trying to buy some time for it to come through. But as you mentioned before, Rusted Barrel before, we see Cool Cheese with his own, also slowing Hex in there as well to really, I guess, dominate potentially Lord and M, AVG. I don't think it affects Pop too much. Still gonna be very annoying and very helpful when it comes to these ganks in this mid game. But honestly, I think I kind of want to say he's been barely better than Hydration, but Hydration is starting to have a little bit of a power spike at this point in the game.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when he gets closer to that Warp Stone. I feel like that's a big moment for Mo where you can just reach out and grab people who feel like they're a little bit safe. Fighting on the drop. Yeah, she's dead to rights here. Viper gets knocked on the bounce pad. And there's a bigger chase down coming in. Ivy takes a big burst, but he'll be okay for this one for now.
Oh no, Arctic, you just got to run away. You're overcommitted. There's nowhere you can run here. He's going to quickly fall to Hydration. Another kill coming through for Floormen with 2 kills and the urn in hand. Big opportunity to push on towards this right-hand side of the map where Billy and Paige are already waiting. AVG and Zerbzy look for that back to take down a Guardian as response to the Bunny with Clock is to push the mid lane Guardian at the same time.
Yeah, and I like what Pashi's doing here. He's holding a lot of aggro in the side lane. Gets a lot of stun, but this is pulling 2 players' attention, and I think he's going to get out of this one. So, you know, constantly forcing pressure on the side lane. I think this is one of the... yeah, as I say that, might be able to catch one more. Would love to find this kill on Viscous, but I don't think the knock is going to be enough. Other side of the map, big carry fight. Aiden needs to get a bit of value here. Lashall picks him up, sends them away. They just want to get Aiden out of trouble. So Matt, just deploying the ult purely defensively, recognizes that the Yamato ult is not something they can tangle with.
I believe I didn't see the urn get turned in, but I don't see it on the map anymore. So I believe it did get locked in for Floormen here, as Bunny Clock was trying to go for the contest. But Jake, you know, I look up at the souls currently, and it's a 10k lead for Floormen, which is a very rough sign here with Bunny the Clock. I mean, at least for Aiden, he's at 10k souls, so he's still ahead of, well, a majority of the players on his opposing side. Only Lord and M and Pop ahead of him. But as we talked about the matchup of Viscous and a Warden, I feel like we kind of highlight it comes down to how things start off for him. Pop definitely having the better game so far.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, one of the things I'm seeing in Viscous this game, and one of the reasons I think I really like the hero as a gun carry, is that you can be almost like Wraith can, where you're like really aggressive by yourself, threatening walkers, forcing responses out of the enemy, and yet you just use the goo ball to get out of those dangerous pushes. And so that allows you to be, while you're passive, you're farming, you're not really participating in team fights the way pretty much any gun carry doesn't, you're still able to provide a lot of impact on the map and pull attention towards yourself. And for now, Pop's clearing some back camps, but I expect every time that goo ball is off CD, he's going to go for some heavy walker pushes and, you know, create opportunities elsewhere on the map.
Yeah, I'm not familiar actually with the skill order. Do you just max ball relatively early for the extra resist?
I think you max the ball skills don't give extra resist. The only point I think you really want is the duration on ball. It just makes plus 5 second duration, so it lasts long enough for you to roll like all the way back to your side of the map. And then I think you max punch and max cube. I mean, really the max punch just does extra damage with the heavy melee, which is really nice when you're so statted on gun items. And then the max cube gives you that dispel, which is, of course, super important. Allow you to play away through a lot of spells, especially you think about Warden in particular, like purging the Warden trap, purging all of Viper's damage, right? Or all those debuffs. Same for somebody like Shiv. So a lot of benefit from the cube, as you can see. He even has 1 point in the ball. Some people don't. I mean, you can greed it out and hold it. Oh, that's a huge kill. AVG just dives the walker and kills Aiden. Aiden's really suffering in the farm game with some of these late deaths. There might be counter kills to be had, which would be a great little side quest reward. But if AVG plays his way out of this, yeah, just no dice. Floormen expanding this lead. And honestly, Jason, this game's getting kind of out of hand.
Yeah, very, very out of hand. And we talked about 10k before. Now we're pushing 15k. Pop with the ball up can roll away from this one, and you can see the confidence out of Floormen. And considering AVG died very early, he was the first death of the game in that lane where you should normally dominate, as you pointed out before. For them to continue that aggression forward, to dive under a walker, just pure confidence out of Floormen, looking to redeem themselves from last week alone. As we were talking about some of like the builds, so we were talking about Ivy in particular. You can see Gibbs there. He had Mystic Slow paired with a Kutsu Bomb. He had Health Nova as well, so you can really, do a burst of healing in these fights, which honestly they're desperately going to need because every death Aiden has, which with him down under the Walker, puts him further behind his counterpart. And it's a 5K difference now between him and Poshipop.
Yeah, that's pretty massive, right? Poshipop's going to get closer and closer to that glass cannon, which is, I think, where these gun builds really spike. And to be able to hit that, a few minutes before your counterpart, there's going to be a big window here for Floormen to really punish this game and try to get that decisive team fight that leads you into a mid-boss. Of course, all eyes on that, but I actually like that Floormen aren't forcing it, right? They're just letting the lead naturally grow, naturally putting the pressure on the map. None of their moves have felt forced, and that's a really, I think, strong sign for a team that has been on the outside looking in from top-level Deadlock in NA for a while. Like, this looks to be their week to really get that chance in the money match if they can keep up this pace.
It does worry me though, as I was watching the minimap here, Cool Cheese was hovering Aiden quite a bit on this right-hand side, so splitting the farm here at this point in the game, where Tanner was alone on the left-hand side getting solo farm. I mean, Abrams, Tanner, he's ahead of Aiden when it comes to souls, but I don't think he's gonna have the same level of impact when it comes to these fights. You definitely need the Warden online and kicking, and pretty much as you mentioned before, but with Clock, they're the ones that have to kind of make a play happen if Floormen continue this pace of just sitting back and letting that lead expand.
Yeah, they're happy to just get a little bit more than 50% of the souls in the map, a little bit more extra. Ivy also kind of one of the only characters who can actually defend against Viscous because she's just going to avoid fighting him and just try and clear his waves. There could be an opportunity here. Tanner senses something, tries to slam in, comes in deep, does get the hit on Yamato, but she's tanky, gets the ultimate off along with the assist from Paige. This fight is getting scary. AVG, big chain, pulls players in. The Warden taking, dealing damage little by little, but Matt can't quite get the lash ultimate off. Combo is good. Onto a connection. Shiv gets a cheeky parry, but gets parried right back, and this is just turning into a rout. Floormen find 3, not losing a single player on their side. An immaculate team fight, and meanwhile, Poshpop's just free farming.
Yeah, and he's continuing to farm up 20K now. I mean, he's still only about 4K ahead of Aiden and Tanner, but he's definitely very close to his glass cannon if he doesn't have it already, but I believe he shouldn't have had picked it up just yet. They are going to be an advantage earned for Floormen if they want to go for it. Instead, they're going to run it back to their base. So being very smart about this, again, being very mindful of every soul on the map and any advantage they can possibly take, keeping it out of the hands of Bunny with Clock, as they're inevitably going to be looking for that pickup if Floormen backed away.
Man, I feel AVG's fingerprints all over this game. I remember in an interview a while back talking about playing perfect, playing, fully solving the game with no mistakes. This is the kind of performance we're seeing in the last few minutes in particular, right? Yeah, laning stage a little bit more chaotic. It's naturally going to be that way, but man, League is Caster Curse is going to see having a huge game. It just gets caught in the mid lane. So the urn juggling from Paige here is keeping the objective out of the fight, but hey, Paige isn't near that objective in the mid lane, and you're willing to take a risk and go for a kill.
Yeah, big grouping, a big push on that mid side, allowing them to catch out League. Potentially more. Mid-boss has been started here.
No affliction, so it's actually a little bit challenging to punish this. There's not many of your ultimates. And they're going to go for a full force. Bunny with Clock, since it's an opportunity to get back in this game, they're going to gamble, dropping this Rejuve Crystal. Lash ulti over the top. It's going to CC people away. Are the Crystal Lasts going to be there? 2-1. But Floormen instantly lose their charge. So big advantage to Bunny with Clock in this fight. Bodies start to drop. Floormen, Yamato coming back into this, one of their strongest members.
And Aiden's being zoned out too by AVG. They're not having a chance to really be effective in this fight. It's still going to be a 2-for-2 trade so far as Matt's going to be going down. Arctic's still alive on the Shiv. He's just going to have to back away from this one with some really sick movement, to be fair. So a 3-for-2, I would say kind of an advantage for Bunny with Clock here, considering the comeback souls they can get from this fight. If they don't lose too much more, they will lose Tanner as well. So that'll be 4 kills. And Poshipop, you heard that sound. He's leveling up that glass cannon, becoming more and more of a threat now after that fight.
Yeah, I mean, I still like Bunny with Clock going for this because, to be honest, the game state was really starting to look like this would just be eventual. Okay, Floormen are gonna find that big fight and take down the mid boss, and you're gonna be on the outside looking in, wondering where the game went so wrong. But because you forced that fight, yeah, it's not the best fight possible. It ends up really going, pretty much 50-50. But that does take a key objective off the map. And hey, when you're down souls, you kind of prefer to have that extra time to let you get back into the game and make that comeback happen.
Some presence being shown though out of Floormen towards this urn to deny the tournament, but as we can see, and actually AVG is cutting the minion wave he's behind the walker to prevent any minions to come through, to allow them to have their own to shove in towards that walker. They're now going to go for the dive from 2 different angles, from the front and the back. AVG locking things down, and I expect to really see Gibbs escape this one. He's down very low HP trying to fly away as the Chenga comes through, and AVG actually be the one caught out here. And a huge reinforcement of Bunny with Clock to keep this walker and these kills alive.
Floormen go for a split push, and they're rewarded with a walker on the other side of the map, but that's 2 big kills at a moment with a huge soul lead. So I think maybe losing a bit of some of that cleanliness of play that had built them such a strong advantage already. Lord did get a lot of damage done on the mid walker, so maybe Poshbach can finish one off. He just has to goo ball in full run. Is he even gonna be able to get out of this one? The CC is actually really solid, great pin as well, and so Floormen tried to get cheeky and force some value while the enemy urn was being held, but I mean, Bunny with Clock waited it out, and they get the comeback urn as well. So those kills on top of the comeback urn makes the souls a lot more tenable. But this walker damage, you know, if you're able to finish it off and capitalize it, eventually this play will pay dividends for the Floormen.
Oh yeah, and we've seen the way they've been playing as well, setting Posh into a solo lane, as you pointed out before. Really unfortunate part though is that the urn was picked up so much earlier on when Floormen had such a big advantage compared to Bunny with Clock, that now they get their urn turning on their own side of the map because of this, with only less than a 10k lead. But that big kill coming through onto League, like you mentioned before, helps Aiden power up a little bit, as I think I saw the glass count on him as well. So we're really going to see that showdown of Warden versus Viscous and who wins out.
Yeah, I think Warden is really catching up and you know, closing some of that gap, as there's been some nice plays in the last few minutes for Bunny with Clock. It's almost equalized the soul advantage. So Floormen, how do they respond to this, right? They were in full control of the game for quite some while. They went a little bit too risky, a little bit too aggressive. Combo in on the Abrams. Where's the damage fall of Tanner? He's not dropping. He's getting the heal. There's that heal Nova from the Ivy. Abrams back to full, and Hydration just has to dip out of this one with his tail between his legs. They don't have the players really coming back into this fight, though, but Poshpop is dying elsewhere. That's where Bunny with Clock are investing their resources.
More importantly, losing stacks on his glass cannon, too. And something to note, the timing on mid-boss of when Bunny with Clock did it, it should align with the respawn of Cool Cheese getting his max rank Petrifying Bola. And that is imperative to controlling a mid-boss. It won't guarantee you a turn-in, or sorry, a pickup of those rejus. You're going to look for Cool Cheese to pick this one up here in the next few minutes. He's got a time window of an advantage. And while Aiden pushes his right-hand side, a push on the left-hand side is going to be happening. Is finding Bunny with Clock to be taking down a walker, should be, and the first one of the game for a flex slot.
Yeah, they need this flex lock. Oh, wait, a nice parry from the Abrams actually gives him a chance to fight this one out. He's going to get away, I think, maybe just because of that parry. Pockets coming in as well. Shiv actually feeling a bit confident, feeling like maybe he wants to take a risk on this fight. But you got to remember, Pockets coming in. Doesn't have that affliction, but maybe Shiv is just a little bit too mobile. And hold on, Tanner waiting in the wings, punishes the Pocket.
I see Shiv.
Running low on HP, running low on cooldowns, but the bounce pad's going to be enough, and they're just going to be happy to escort Shiv out of there. Well played by Tanner.
So funny enough, with Floormen having a 10k lead, what was it, 10 minutes in, 12 minutes in? It's now a slight lead for Bunny with Clock now as they approach the 22-minute mark. Only 4k, but a desperate 4k that they needed. And you look at the soul distribution across the team, and it's pretty damn even. There's no one really standing out on this roster except Tanner and Aiden, but it's only like a 5 or 4k lead. Where on the other side, Poshpop is at 27,000. You have Hydration on low eco. You have Xerxes on low eco. The urn turning, though, could be exactly what they need to get back in this game. But that's going to be the last ultimate to pull them away.
Looks like that lash ult was canceled, though, and the big damage comes in. Massive affliction dropping out of the sky from Lord NM. Are the connections good enough? It seems that they are. Mo's found a combo target as well. Gibbs forced into that stone form. Now Mo just focusing on cleaning up some of these kills, getting that urn deposit in. Looks like it is going to go through. Great movement. Just Arctic full desperation trying to stop that. And in the end, it's 6 for nothing. I mean, Arctic should be going down here without much of a recourse. The whole team surrounding him. Even Shiv doesn't have the tankiness to deal with that. And Hydration going to get a quick heal on the base. That is the dream fight for the Floormen, putting them right back in control of this game. And with 2 walkers on low HP, this is going to be a full cleanup of the exterior objectives.
And mid-boss spawning too. This was a 5v6, Jake. Don't forget, Floormen didn't have Poshpop there. He was off in the mid lane just farming, and they win that 1-6-0 and get the urn turn in. That is well, that lead that we talked about with Bunny Clock they had of about 4k completely out the window. Now mid boss should be spawning relatively soon, I believe. Actually, sorry, I think that was the end of the last reju that we saw, because we lost all the reju stacks right when mid boss was taken. So it should be up in the next minute or two, I believe. And I'm assuming we're gonna have to see a fight here. Floormen can almost just force that fight in that close area now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the mid-boss timer is pretty long, right? Because they basically all lost the rejuves instantaneously. I feel like whenever I'm playing, I'm always early on my timer in terms of when I expect mid-boss to come up. When the rejuves were just instantly lost, because you kind of there wasn't much of a mid-boss to speak of, right? Like there wasn't that period of playing slow and waiting out the rejuve that normally makes you feel like, okay, when rejuve expires, mid-boss up soon. So yeah, there's definitely a bit of time to wait, a bit of time for both teams to work with in terms of finding picks and escalating this advantage. But of course, I think they're both thinking about that mid-boss, recognizing that it's going to be the key objective that really determines who continues to grow the lead in this game.
Man, Tanner, he's got Phantom Strike. Wait, did he just resub while playing, or is that someone else? That has to be someone else. I can't imagine that's Tanner playing. Like, hold on, guys. I need to go resub real fast for 5 months. He's got Phantom Strike. I don't know who he looks for with that Phantom Strike. Like, Poshipop isn't really going to be easy to be killed. Has Lucky Shot as well now. Has Metal Skin too on top of that. Who can he kill? Zerbsy?
Well, I honestly, anyone. I think the reason you buy the Phantom Strike on Abrams is more about getting into position to pull somebody out, right? It's not necessarily going to insta-kill somebody, but like if you pull somebody out of formation away from your teammates or just let you close the gap and like instant cancel the Mo combo or something like that, I think the Page would probably be the best possible target. Like Page or maybe Pocket if you think you can actually secure that kill on Pocket, but Paige is probably the most vulnerable character on this team for the Floormen, right? She wants to save everyone else. She doesn't want to be the one under assault. It's a nice spirit buff for Shiv. That's going to be exactly what the doctor ordered for the Shiv, really buffing up his damage. He is already unholy tanky with this build.
Millskin, return fire. And he's taking a lot of damage from these punches you saw there, as we're going to see a big push out of Floormen. In the meantime, it's going to be Gibbs pushing the right-hand lane, looking for a walker. And Bunny with Clock have to be so careful here. If you lose out on too many players, you're losing out on that mid-boss as well, and potentially the game, your chance to beat melee creeps in the money match.
It's a key fight. Big damage in from the pockets, trying to get in and chase on top of that Viper, but Bunny with Clock starting to drop players. They're struggling to actually find some of the finishing blows. Lord and Nav just waiting out the cooldowns, coming back in for another big burst. And Botchbop comes in, assists the finish there, and mid-boss spawning at the perfect moment. Bunny with Clock, heartbreaking situation right now. I don't know what they can do. I mean, Gibbs grabbed a walker there on the side, but I think this was a fight that you needed to take as a team, and being greedy right now, we saw Floormen win a fight without Botchbop. You see what happens when the Viscous does get involved at 35k souls.
He got 2 kills in that last fight too. So glass cannon stacks out the wazoo. Stocks are looking strong here, and I even seen AVG immediately push off of this reju to go straight for the contest. Not a lot of Gibbs to turn in, and I don't know if Gibbs is going to expect them to be there. At least does have Matt off to the side, but immediately spots us. Oh, hey, okay, you guys have the air. Leave me alone, leave me alone. He tries to back away, but you know they're going to die for this one.
It's too late for that, and even Matt in real trouble here, getting it bursted down. Should be getting finished off here. Maybe has an ability to escape for just a few seconds longer, but that's only just staggering his spawn even more. I will say the waves are pretty poor right now for the Floormen, but hey, all you need is one. With rejuve advantage, with player advantage like this, I wonder if they're just going to continue the pressure. They do have a lot of time with this rejuve, so it looks like they're chilling and farming the map right now. I actually think this is too passive from the Floormen. I mean, I think with the advantage they have, they really need to push the tempo. And you got 2 players dead for 30 seconds, right? That's arguably an even bigger advantage than the rejuve.
Poshi got 2 more kills in that last fight, so at least on 4 stacks of glass cannon, he is going to hurt. We do see, I guess, the noose being tightened around Bunny with Clocks. You look at the minimap, all lanes have been corrected, pushing in every single lane all at once here, leaving it up to just 4 players of Bunny with Clocks to defend. And realistically, there's no point, no chance you can test these Guardians at least, even Shrines. You're going to have to wait for Matt to come up, and that's where the Death Slam is going to be very crucial and very key if you want to have a chance to win this fight, being down almost 40k.
Gotta start bleeding out some of the resources from these attackers. It's a big affliction, though. Finds the Shiv and the Abrams. They're responding, but Matt and Gibbs weren't up yet. So Bunny with Clock, a bit of missed tempo there. Trying to greed that out and fight a little bit too early. And Floormen just pounce on them before their teammates are ready to assist. Patrons dropping. There's going to be players Bunny with Clock who are not in 20 seconds. This game is over, Jason. Floormen ready to clean this one up. The full Yamato ult. This game got close for a minute there, but Floormen finishing it with ease here. Great punishes on some of the mistakes from Bunny with Clock.
Yeah, shouldn't be able to Death Slam here. I would imagine Zerbsky's going to have knockdown if we do see Matt come in. There we go. Death Slam being thrown in. Gets a couple of them. It's not going to matter. What's Ivy going to do to contest this one to at least keep this Patron alive? This gets quickly burned down. And Floormen get their berth into the money match once again here, though it took them a couple weeks to get back into this one. They at least close this now and close that with, I want to say, relative ease, with just a little bit of a hump here or there with Bunny Clock clawing things back around that mid-boss.
Yeah, I mean, this was a statement game from Floormen. Really clean early and mid game, building a pretty decisive advantage. I do think they threw it away in a huge way. I mean, there was a moment where Bunny with Clock, the advantage was back in their favor, and it was kind of their game to lose. Floormen kicked it into high gear, and they managed to claw their way back into the game, securing a pretty big deal, I think, being able to grab a win here, right? It has been a long time coming for the Floormen. It's been Bunny with Clock for, what, 8 or 9 weeks now? Quite a bit of the melee creep streak has been dueling against BWC in the money match, and now a different opponent, maybe a new challenger looking to stifle melee creeps before they can get that 10-win streak. They want to defend that Hydra Nation throne. Gonna have to see if they're able to accomplish that, though. Best of 3 for the NA Championship coming up next.
Yeah, wasn't our streak like 12 wins in a row for Hydra Nation back during like DFN times? And maybe
it was more, wasn't it? Like 20? I feel like it was something insane.
Oh, it can't be 20. No way.
I honestly think it was close to 20, if not 20. I don't think melee creeps are even close to the Hydra Nation streak. It was ungodly. It was like way too long actually when Hydra Nation were on top in NA. There just wasn't competitors. This is a different era of Deadlock. It is a much more challenging thing to maintain a massive streak like that.
You know the Intel Extreme Masters Grand Slam? Have you heard of that?
I think so.
So it's a game. It's Counter-Strike, and if you win, I think it's like 4 IEMs or 4 major events. I can't remember exactly how it breaks down. Within a year, you win $1 million. Maybe we just set something up here within the night shift that if you can break the
Jason's
record of most
up $1
wins.
million.
Okay, that was a little bit of exaggeration. That was a weird example. Maybe we do some sort of like bounty on their heads with the more that they win. But we can see here the
so
breakdown of
stats. Jason.
Yeah, you know, I'm just making so much money here in Italy. You know, with my slow ass internet and the food sucks here, just taking all my money and saving it.
Oh, they're gonna kick you out of the country, bro. They're gonna deport you.
I put pineapples on pizza today. You know, I'm having a good time.
Oh my God.
See the stat breakdown though coming through at the end, and you know, Metal Skin is easily becoming one of the new rising star items. I would say across these last weeks.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think it's super valuable. It gives you some nice raw bullet resist on just like the stats, but the crucial thing is to be able to be locked down and not die in 1 second to like these late game gun carries. I mean, it really is only Warden and Viscous who are really pumping the gun damage in this particular game, but you still end up needing that Metal Skin just to be able to stand toe to toe, especially as the carries, because so much rides on being able to just bully the other carry out. Like whichever gun carry can stand and deliver against the other, force the other one to retreat out of the fight, gets that window, crucial window of 5 to 10 seconds to start killing off weaker enemy opponents. So Metal Skin, super crucial buy in this era of the heavy gun carries. And Pachi Pop this time reigns supreme. Top souls, top kills, top objective damage, which, let's be honest, objective damage is what really counts as the gun carry. You're able to shoot those buildings. It's much more exciting to see big numbers than to fight players. That's for mid players, you know. Fighting enemy players, that's for active roles. Carry, I hit jungle, I hit towers. That's my role.
When it comes to our games, one thing I'm not seeing though for Bunny the Clock, which I guess kind of makes sense the later the game went on, and obviously there's a lot more higher priority items, but there's no divine barrier. There's nothing to stop Odin's affliction. So you can't throw it on Tanner to allow him to sustain in the fight. You can't throw it onto Aiden to allow him to sustain. I think that's maybe one slight misstep in itemization that you kind of needed, though. With the way the game played out, I don't think it would have mattered in the end, but something to at least keep in mind of, you know, I guess there's always some small rooms for improvement.
Yeah, they go for the second curse. Like both Gibbs and Cool Cheese have curses, so they're really looking to go for those kills instead. But I kind of agree with you. I think one of those being a divine barrier might have been nicer to let you save some of your high mobility allies when they do get caught out, because when you get comboed, when you get afflicted as a frontliner, I mean, it feels like your fight's just instantly over, especially with somebody like Viscous able to follow up every time. So yeah, you know, tough calls in the item department, but ultimately I think this came down to the gameplay, right? Floormen really brought the heat today. They earned an early advantage. Other than that one pretty significant slip up in the mid game where they try a risky split push with a huge advantage and they kind of throw it away. They did play that one incredibly well, and then they really did deserve the victory, even clawing their way back in after it looked difficult. I wasn't so sure that was going to happen. I thought, oh, you throw in an advantage like that, you've been on the outside of the top 2 for a long time. Maybe this is just, you know, history repeating itself. You're just not ready to make it to that money match. But they say no, they stand tall, and they're going to be the team going on to face melee creeps. But that's a different beast, a challenge in their own right. The melee creeps looking for the 10 streak this week, Jason.
Yeah, before we get to that, we've got to crown an MVP here of our challenger match, and it's going to be none other than League on the Yamato with the giant forehead, coming with the 32,000 souls, Mr. Reverb at the end for a little bit of extra damage in CC. She's got to be one of the models they rework soon. I mean, come on.
I mean,
that
please,
forehead
we're begging.
It's like
We're
looking at
begging.
Uber.
I will say, like, one of the customs that's like the Yamato remodel is so good. You know, it's like one of those customs because it's like genuinely looks like the real skin in the game. You know, or it looks like it should be the real skin in the game.
Can we, you know what? If Ozzy's watching, maybe we can get like an Uber shouts Yamato skin. Just his face with the giant forehead, man. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm so looking forward to what they're going to implement in the game. I mean, there's been some like ideas of what we potentially could see for like final versions of these heroes. I think even Zeke mentioned before, even Abrams had 3 different portrait changes, now 4 with our Night Shift skin, which we'll be releasing at 1,200 subs here on the channel. So if you're interested in getting that one picked up for yourself, just like the Mo and Krill skin, you can sub to get us towards our goal. But League, I mean, kind of an unsung hero. Didn't really stand out individually, but he was just kind of always there in those fights. He was always there to like supply the extra pressure for the team when they needed it, and he did his job.
Yeah, I mean, relatively quiet game, but still really strong. I think he was 7-0 on the early game, you know, so really built some of that early advantage, the early lead, and just a great statistical performance from the frontliner. I give a lot of credit to Pashi as well for the split push pressure. I mean, he really wasn't in so many of the fights until we got towards the late game, but that's really his job in that role. He's bringing like more players than one to defend his pushes in the side lane, and yet he's still getting damage done. He's still pressuring walkers, and for the most part, able to get out and stay alive and keep that farm going. So well done to really all of the Floormen pulling it together for that win. But now, I mean, the melee creeps are just a different beast, right? They're a different beast in terms of the hero packs, the priority, the level of play. And I'm kind of excited because it's been a long time since we've seen them in a different matchup. It's just been Bunny with Clock over and over and over again, getting new chances, making it, you know, closer and closer as the weeks go by. But I think it's exciting to see a new challenger, or maybe an old new challenger coming back into the fold to give melee creeps a proper run for their money for their potential 10th straight.
Well, I guess you guys at home can guess what the match is going to be coming up next in a best of 3 to see who wins out on the money. And of course, the pride of being our Night Shift champion. That's on the other side of a break. Go get something to eat, go get something to drink, go use the bathroom if you need to, and go say hi to your pets. We'll see you in a few.